All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are tackling a really fascinating idea, one that kind of flips a common belief on its head. The whole more friends equals more happiness thing. We're going to explore why some of the most intelligent people out there actually seem to prefer their own company.
So let me ask you this, right off the bat. Is having a smaller circle of friends some kind of social problem, or could it actually be a secret superpower? I mean, we're always told that being popular is the ultimate goal, but some really compelling research, and history for that matter, suggests a totally different story. And that leads us perfectly to our first big idea, the solitude paradox. This is this kind of counterintuitive concept that, for really intelligent people, more social time doesn't necessarily mean more happiness. In fact, it can be the exact opposite.
So get this. A study in the British Journal of Psychology found something that just turns our social expectations upside down. They found a direct link. For people with higher intelligence, spending more time with friends was actually connected to lower life satisfaction. Wild, right? So, what is actually going on here?
Well, psychology gives us a few really good clues. For starters, highly intelligent folks often have a strong sense of self-sufficiency. They just don't need a ton of outside approval to feel good about themselves. They can also feel a real discomfort with conforming, you know? They'd rather question things than just go along with the crowd. This means their time becomes super valuable, and they'd often rather spend it on personal growth or diving deep into their passions. Plus, they tend to have really high standards for their relationships and can get easily overstimulated by big social scenes, which, you guessed it, makes finding truly like-minded people a pretty big challenge.
And this all boils down to our next point. It's not really about avoiding people altogether. It's about avoiding a certain kind of interaction. It's this deep craving for real depth over, small talk.
And you can really see the difference here. Small talk, you know the drill. It's predictable, it kind of dances around anything real, and it can just feel, well, fake. Deep talk, on the other hand, is where you get to explore big ideas, search for meaning, and build a real, authentic connection. For a lot of intelligent people, the first one is just draining, while the second one is absolutely essential.
There's this fantastic quote, often credited to Eleanor Roosevelt, that just nails this idea. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. It's all about that preference for the why and the what if, not just the gossip of the day.
But why do so many of us get stuck on the surface? Well, a lot of the time, it really just comes down to fear. The fear of not being understood or being challenged on what you think. The fear of upsetting someone, or, heaven forbid, questioning the way things have always been done. Deep conversation takes a certain vulnerability that, honestly, many of us are taught to avoid.
Okay, so to really see this in action, let's look at one of the greatest examples in history. We're going to see how a period of forced isolation didn't just spark a few ideas, it completely revolutionized science. Let's talk about Isaac Newton.
Picture this. It's 1665. The Great Plague is tearing through London and Cambridge University shuts down. So this 24-year-old student, Isaac Newton, has to go home. He's suddenly without all the structure and the distractions of college life. Basically, he's in the world's most productive quarantine. And what happened during that time is just mind-blowing. This period became known as his Year of Wonders. In just 18 months of pure, focused solitude, he laid the groundwork for calculus, developed his game-changing theories on light and optics, and saw that famous apple fall from a tree, which led him to figure out the law of universal gravitation. Just incredible. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Newton said it himself. He knew that this period of focused, solitary work was the most inventive and productive of his entire life. The lack of distraction created the perfect space for his genius to just explode.
So, Newton's story is amazing, right? But it's not just some historical fluke. There's a powerful psychological thing happening here that we can all tap into. So how does being alone actually spark those aha moments? Let's dig into the science.
A huge piece of this puzzle is a concept called flow. You know that feeling, right? When you're so in the zone with something you're doing that time just kind of melts away, you're completely absorbed. That's flow, and it's pretty much the ultimate state for creativity and deep work.
And solitude is like the key that unlocks that state. Think about the shower effect. You're doing something mindless, your brain wanders, and boom, a brilliant idea hits you. Solitude also lets you daydream productively, which can actually boost your mood and open up new ways of thinking. Or you can find a sweet spot task, like going for a walk,
that frees up your brain to solve other problems in the background. And for a lot of us, especially introverts, being alone is simply the fastest way to get into that deep state of flow. Of course, the real secret sauce is balance. You do the deep solo work, then you get feedback from your trusted circle.
So let's bring this all home. It's so easy to hear all of this and think it's about being antisocial or some kind of hermit, but that's really not the point at all.
Because here's the real takeaway, the thing to remember. It's not about having fewer friends.
It's about having the right ones. The goal isn't just to be alone, it's to make space for the connections that truly, deeply matter.
At the end of the day, what we're all really looking for is authentic connection. It's about finding relationships where you can grow together and learn from each other. It's about finding those amazing people who challenge you and inspire you to be better. It's about choosing deep, meaningful bonds over just a long list of people you kinda know.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. We live in a world that is just so loud, constantly screaming for our attention. But as we've seen, from the laws of the universe to our own creative breakthroughs, the most profound things are often built in the quiet. The only question left is, what will you build in yours?